Hello everybody, welcome back. It's Connor here and we are here to review the Arsenal 4, Leeds United 1 defeat today at the Emirates Stadium. Get your comments in the section below. Leeds have fallen to defeat, fallen to a loss to the Premier League leaders who are flying at this moment in time. Listen, in context, we're going to get into your comments as well. Make sure you're liking the video, make sure you're commenting and subscribed as always. It was always a tough one. It was always a tough one today. I didn't expect anything from it. Leeds have got the worst record at the Emirates, like literally bar none. I don't think there's any other stadium where we've performed worse at. So it was always going to be a tough task. It was always going to be a tough task to go there and do anything. The lineup came out. I said on our group chat that I didn't really mind it. I almost thought that the false nine with Sinistera there was gonna like almost enable the midfield to link to the attack, because I think Sinistera is very, very good on the ball. So I think his technical ability would have been able to help the likes of Aronson and Harrison and players like that. And I think you did see that in the first half, to be quite honest with you. Leeds were frustrating Arsenal and there wasn't really a vibe at the Emirates. There wasn't, and there has been this season. And I really thought that it was potentially going to be, maybe at least if we're getting at half time, Arsenal are going to come out a different side, but potentially you can frustrate them even more. Naturally, they've got Saka on the bench who's going to come on and do something. But I was just a little bit disappointed with how Leeds folded. Now, there's going to be people in the comment section below saying, this was always going to happen. It's a free hit. No football game is a free hit. I understand that there are going to be difficult games in football, of course. But even with the clown that we had in previously in Jesse Marsh, we were still able to go, toe-to-toe with Tottenham and go toe-to-toe with Liverpool and Chelsea, etc. And Arsenal are a different beast this year, of course they are, but I wasn't impressed with them at all in that first half. We mitigated anything they threw at us. So that was really impressive from a structural standpoint when it came to Javi Gracia and the players. I think the issue is with Leeds, and this is the thing we've faced all season. Listen, I know we've got 7 points in 12 under Javi Gracia. I'm nowhere near going to throw him under the bus. But I think the quality going forward for Leeds United is always going to be a problem. Aronson, Harrison, players of that ilk are not seemingly able to consistently keep the ball for long periods of time, which frustrates the opposition. It's not just those two. It's Mark Rocker, who I thought was poor today, who I think a lot of you are going to be shocked that I objectively called him out. But listen, he's up against two top operators in Partey and Xhaka, who've been fantastic this season. But once again, not being able to keep hold of the ball in periods of time where Arsenal aren't that great, that's always going to affect you. Harrison went through on goals, should have finished, should have done much better there. Somerville had a couple of opportunities. I thought he was fantastic in the first half, but once again, that end product wasn't there. And you always thought Arsenal were going to come back into it, always. And they get the look of the draw. Is it a penalty? Is it not a penalty? But listen, it's soft, but there's contact. And yeah, I'm not going to whinge about that one. What my complaint is why is Luke Ayling going to ground? Why is Luke Ayling going to ground? You don't need to do it. Stand him up. Just stand him up. What you don't do, basics in football, is go to ground in your own box. And, it wasn't a desperate challenge. Gabriel Jesus is in front of him. He just literally needs to show him on his weak foot. He chops him a couple of times. Ayling falls on the floor. Rasmus gets him initially. I'm surprised Jesus didn't go down there, to be honest with you. But he went down when the opportunity arose, when Ayling sort of flicked a stud at him. And it was just dense from Luke Ayling. Dense. And the problem is with players like Luke Ayling, who are still in the Leeds United stranglehold. Of course, scored against Wolves last week. Don't get me wrong, that's great. But the quality for someone like Luke Ayling just isn't there. Hence why Leeds United in the summer transfer window, as we've spoken about, as everybody knows, as journalists have been pointing out for the past 2-3 months, Leeds need to go out and get a new right back, or be able to really swimmingly transition Cody Drameh into this side, which may or may not work, whatever. But Luke Ayling is not the long-term option, and that's not me just being reactive. We've said this on this channel for the best part of 2 years now. So yeah, I think the issue with Luke is it was one of those games from today, and you could tell from moment 3 when 3 minutes in, when he's jittering on the ball, he's panicking on the ball, he's going back to Meslier consistently. Every touch he's having is going out of play, and it just it's exceptionally frustrating when you see performances like that. When you see a performance like he's had against Wolverhampton Wanderers, and it's that consistency, isn't it? And I know Arsenal are a better team, and that's a huge caveat, but half of these moments, I don't even think there was any pressure on him in possession. It was just lacklustre passing. It was sloppy passing and out of possession. I mean, there's times where he's going up against Martinelli and he's square on. He's square on against Martinelli, who is probably one of the quickest, most explosive players in the Premier League, and he's square on. You know, as we saw with the second goal. You know, he's not even showing him on his weaker side. It's basic defending. Luke Ayling is stuck in the mud anytime he's going 1v1 against Martinelli. And you're not, you know, I remember Cody Drame getting cooked by Leeds fans because he was up against Martinelli and Martinelli got the rub of the green of him a couple of times. Luke Ayling was just getting mauled there. And I know Martinelli's unbelievable, don't get me wrong, but give yourself a chance. And maybe that tactically is where Leeds got it wrong and Gracia got it wrong. We weren't doubling up on Martinelli at all. It just seemed to be Luke Ayling exposed against him every single time, which is naturally just going to be a disaster. You know, going through the goals as well. I believe it was Jack Harrison on the other side when stuck in the mud, Ayling couldn't move and Martinelli got past him way too easily. The ball ricocheted to Martinelli, fires it across and there's Ben White. Of course, it's Ben White, alert as ever, to just knock the ball in. It's a good finish, and Jack Harrison does his old look up to the sky, head in hands, because he should have been tracking Ben White. So yeah, 2-0. And you're thinking it's an almighty task. Then Jesus scores again, 55, and I'm thinking, oh god, this is bad. This is going to be 5-6 because we've seen it before with Leeds. They do collapse at moments when it's going against them. You know, heavy scores. We've seen it in previous seasons as well. So I was worried, and it's the first Tonkin we've got in a while, to be honest with you. Probably maybe since the City game. But yeah, third went in, and then Rasmus scored, which is great. Great to see him on the score sheet again. That's 2 goals in consecutive away games. And then obviously Luke Ayling with yet another mistake, you know, beaten far too easily. And yeah, I mean, in my opinion, he should have been hooked. You know, even if you're bringing Cooper on and putting Rasmus at right back or whatever, the fact that Luke Ayling stayed on that entire game was just exceptional. So, yeah, a tough day at the office. The reason it's a tough day at the office is because of the other results. Obviously, Palace have beaten Leicester. Bournemouth have got a win. Obviously, Forest, I believe, have drawn with Wolverhampton Wanderers. So, yeah, it sends Leeds back down to 16th, and it's a point now between us and the relegation zone. You know, as I said, the good thing is Leicester have lost. But once again, it just signifies how massive this week is for Leeds United. It is absolutely huge. And I think some of the injuries were felt today. You know, Adams and Verba in particular. Willian Yonto in that first half. I thought Arsenal, we could have gone for Arsenal. You know, I thought Somerville was leading the charge. But that quality that maybe Willian Yonto would have been able to hurt Arsenal with just wasn't there today, which was a big shame. Let's have a look at some of your comments. So the next 2 are going to decide whether we stay up or go down. How are we feeling, Connor? Yeah, Anthony, I don't think this is it's not a yardstick for me, mate. It's not a yardstick when it comes to Leeds United. I don't genuinely believe that, you know, this Arsenal game is going to dictate how we go. I mean, you'll get loads of Leeds fans coming on here and just literally picking out little stupid bits of what I've said and contextualising it into their own narrative. When I'm literally summarising what's going on, it is Leeds are in a much better place under Javi Gracia. I also think that there's a lot for Leeds to get. You know, I think there's a lot for Leeds to get from the remainder of the season. It really does depend on a lot of players coming back for me. I know Arsenal are quality, but I think you saw just individual errors there today, which I don't think we've seen in quite a while, to be honest. And it wasn't just the 4 goals. It was just a lot of bits in possession and out of possession in particular, and just players not doing the basics. And I think there was just a lack of leadership on the pitch there for me. But, you know, you've still got Rodrigo potentially, well, coming back, obviously. You know, you'd expect him to be playing against Palace and Forest. You've got Patrick Bamford. You know, you've still got players who are fit and ready. The thing is, everybody, how we've got to look at this is teams are winning around us. Bournemouth, I know, you know, Fulham are without Mitrovic and Willian today, but got a great win, another great win at home. And everybody just seems to count out Bournemouth. I said it in my my player reviews, my team reviews, the Premier League standings. Everyone's just counting out Bournemouth. They've beaten Liverpool, they've beaten Fulham, and they've beaten Wolverhampton Wanderers in the last 5 weeks. 4 or 5 weeks. They're not done at all. They're not done at all. You know, they've got more victories than we have in those in that time. So listen, this is going to go right down to the wire. You fully expect probably Everton to get something against Spurs, because that happens all the time. Spurs are in disarray at the minute as well. Everton have built up a nice little home record. So do I expect us to go down? There's still a huge possibility. Huge possibility. I think Ayling was poor. Arsenal targeted him down that side. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Gordon White says disappointed, but but expected some of the other results haven't been kind. That's the issue, as El Bao says here. The results have gone against us, and our goal difference has taken a hammering. Listen, a 1-0, a 2-0, a 2-1 was what I hoped for today, and that sounds mad, but we're never going to win today. We just don't have the quality. There's still 10, 12 sides in this division who I still don't think we beat on our best day, obviously on their best day either. So I think it's always going to be difficult for Leeds to pick up points at the Emirates. I mean, we've never won there, have we? We've never won there in the stadium's existence. So it was always going to be difficult. They're much better than we are, but there was moments in that first half. But I knew as soon as we went in and we were missing that, the Harrison chance where it was dragged a little bit wide by, I believe it was Aronson or Somerville playing him in, a couple of other chances from Somerville where you really need to just be ruthless. I knew as soon as they didn't come, Arsenal were going to get one. And it always seems to be a penalty against Leeds, doesn't it? It's Bournemouth that kills us today. Yeah, Bournemouth are carrying on winning. Bournemouth are getting good results. And this is what I was saying at home. At home, we've still got them to play down at the Vitality. Bournemouth are changing at the minute. That's what I was saying in my review. I said they've got a lot of quick players, they've got a lot of players with quality, and they've got goals in them as well. Goals in them and a little bit of resilience. This is going to be an absolutely horrendous run-in. I do think Ayling may need resting, but context is Arsenal and Leicester lost and are 18th. We are 16th with 2 home games versus Forest and Palace. It's in our hands. Minimum 4, ideally 6. I think you're right, Paul. It is in Leeds United's hands. For me, there's no way we're picking up 2 wins. I think you're hoping for a win and a draw. But, the massive win for Palace today under Roy, huge win for them. So they're going to have that still have that honeymoon period, that new manager bounce. It's going to be 2 tough games, everyone. 2 tough games. Leeds haven't just suddenly turned around as a very, very good side. I think, it's a difficult one. Nightcrawler says, Sinister is looking to be a disappointment. I completely disagree with that. He's playing up front by himself today against one of the best rear guards in the country. He's been injured for however many long. People have short memories. Sinister was our best player at the start of the season. He's just been hampered by injuries. He's technically still the best player. Explosive wise, I think it's Nonto, but Sinister is a top player who just needs minutes. How did Forest do? They drew. Next to a key corner, 6 points needed. It's massive. It's massive, especially with the lead. The games coming up. Luke Bill, give it away. Ayling. Expect to lose, but not to collapse. Second division players, clown show defend. I agree, and that's why it's frustrating people. Saying, it's Arsenal, you expect it, but once again, we keep talking about Bournemouth. Bournemouth have gone there not long ago and they scored 2 goals and only lost in the last couple of minutes to Arsenal and really pushed them the whole way. It's just a shame that Leeds, as soon as one goes in, it does feel that at points against some of these the best teams. We've seen it multiple times over the last 2 or 3 seasons. The players that are still there, they just seem to collapse a little bit. And show a little bit of a lack of resilience at points, and that was disappointing for me today. 4-1 is a big result. It's still a big difference. I know they're good, very good, but you'd hope with the upturn that we've had, especially when we literally went into a pretty much back 11 today, we'd have been able to. I mean, Grazia will be disappointed with that, very disappointed with that. So that speaks volumes, I think. How many points do we think we need to stay up? I don't know. It's teams are picking. I mean, I always said sort of like 37, 38, but people seem to be. I think people hate it when I say that because it's like there's like, and it's not happening. By the way, that's not factual. It's my opinion, but people hate when I say that because in their mindset, it's like, well, that's a lot. But teams just are picking up wins down there. They're picking up points continuously. I've never seen it like that. I've never seen it like this in the Premier League. So yeah, I think the quality is just so much better. Palace had apparently 31 attempts at goal. Yeah, and I guess when you're looking at Palace also lost to Arsenal 4-1. So yeah, something's taken in context there. It's so tight, 12 at the bottom. Yeah. Just saw the penalty corner, an Oscar-winning dive. It is, John, but there's still... The thing is, mate, like, football's not like it was, John. It's not like it was, mate. And contact in the box is everything. And contacts in the box with Premier League players, they're always going to go down, mate. They're always going to go down. And when you go down, when there is contact like that, when Ayling's daft enough to leave a leg out like that, you're giving the referee a decision to make. You know, fans might not like it. They might not like the fact that there's a penalty there and it's soft. It's not like it was. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The refs are never going to overturn that. There's contact there, and it's just stupid of Ayling for hanging a leg out and go. Why is he going to ground? Why is he going to ground? And for me, you know, Grazia at that point. You know, especially when, you know, you're looking at half time and you know, especially well into the second half, he had to bring Ayling off for me. He had to bring Ayling off. I mean, I know Ayling used to play for Arsenal, but yeah, as Gabe said, doing his best sabotage job. Zaha crocked. I'm not seeing this. Come on, Connor, that shouldn't be a penalty. If that was us, you confront the referee. But that's not the question, Bradley. They're two different questions. You're essentially saying to me, is the referee going to give the same decision for us and Arsenal? That's a completely different question to if it is or isn't a penalty. That's, you know, for me, there's contact. There is contact, and you know you got to take your Leeds hat off at some points. You know, would I say that's a penalty if it was in Arsenal's box? If Zinchenko did it Sinistera, yeah, I'd be calling for a penalty. I'd be calling for a penalty there because there's contact. The referee not giving it is a different conversation. But is it a penalty? Is contact there? There's contact. You know, Ayling stood, hits his kneecap, and he's down on the floor for whatever reason. You know. We'll stay up, we'll be okay. The next 6 games are must-wins, bar the Liverpool match. Yeah. Rutter did look sharp, yeah. I like Rutter. I'm a big fan of Rutter. He hasn't got any minutes. You can't judge him and just say, like, he's this, he's that, he's crap, he's this, that, and the other. He's not got enough minutes. He needs minutes in his tank to be able to show what he can do. And we have still got artillery going forward. I think the worry for me is we just collapsed a little bit there. And when you're looking at structurally, I'm just a little bit worried how at points Arsenal, I mean, literally at points I thought, you know, you'd have got a bottom 3 or 4 side been able to, you know, carve Leeds open there. It was like a knife through butter. They didn't have to do anything exceptional. There wasn't like incredible movement or anything like that, and that's what I'm worrying about. You're just hoping Verba and Nonto are going to be able to come back into the fold very, very quickly because Leeds need that. And the amount of individual errors when you're looking at someone like Luke Ayling today is just not acceptable. It's just not acceptable. Ryan says we missed arguably our best 3 players. Don't read too much into it, as I guess. The thing is, Ryan, we've got our next game, 3 or 4 days? In 3 or 4 days, there's a picture that came out the other day of Willie Gnonto in a leg brace. It's been quiet on the Gnonto front. If we're being optimistic, they're back for that game, but there is a likelihood that the game midweek, Verba, obviously Adams, and Gnonto is still missing from that game. You know, a 4-day turnaround is very, very soon. So I presume Grazia is going to go into that game with maybe an idea that those two might be starting on the bench, or they're not even going to be in the side. Who knows? So let's hope they do. But yeah. Ian says Grazia pulling his hair out, giving players instruction, individual mistakes made. Grazia must be half to blame, picking, keeping him on. Yeah, and I think a lot of it is just the individual errors, which we've seen all season, which basically comes down to the fact that these players just aren't good enough. There's some of these players who are nowhere near Premier League standard, and they are playing in the Premier League week in, week out. As I've said, this is a general point. It's a very, very general point of the season that's happened. Jesse Marsch was the orchestrator of all of this. The recruitment wasn't ideal, but it's been much better, and Jesse had a lot to his name in terms of players that came in and were able to perform for Leeds United. As we know, the structural plan with Jesse Marsch was awful. However, the team is much better. the team is much better, and which is a massive positive going forward. I still think there are real individual errors and mistakes, etc., when it comes to Leeds at the back and in possession. We're still so sloppy. And these could be in the games that we've won as well, by the way. You know, we're still so sloppy in possession. And against any Premier League side, unfortunately, you're going to give them opportunities. But yeah. Matthew says the manager deserves criticism for his subs. Why bother bringing starters on when the game is gone? Well, yeah, true. I guess people would be upset if he kept certain individuals on for longer periods of time, though, Matt, and didn't make substitutions. But guys, we're going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Give us a like on the video as well. We'll be back with some more One Leeds content very soon. Leeds have lost out, but we go again. 2 massive games coming up where Leeds United just simply have to win. Guys, have a good one, and I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.